Soanian sites are found along the Siwalik region in present-day India, Nepal and Pakistan. The Soanian culture has been approximated to have occurred during the Middle Pleistocene period or the Mid-Holocene epoch. The Soanian culture is a prehistoric technological culture from the Siwalik Hills, Pakistan. It is named after the Soan Valley in Pakistan. Debates still go on today regarding the exact period occupied by the culture due to artifacts often found in non-datable surface contexts. The anthropology and archaeology team led by Helmut de Terre and Thomas Thompson Patterson first discovered and named this culture. Soanian artifacts were manufactured on quartzite pebbles, cobbles, and occasionally on boulders, all derived from various fluvial sources on the Siwalik landscape. Soanian assemblages generally comprise choppers, discoids, scrapers, cores, and flake-type tools, all occurring in varying typo-technological frequencies at different sites. Excluding some localities in the Soan Valley of Pakistan, Gular and Toka site complex in India, and the Arjun 3 site in Nepal, Soanian and similar assemblages rarely comprise more than a few dozen artifacts. The emergence of Soanian tools has been tied to the local development of boulder conglomerate formation through prehistoric tectonic processes that created a convenient transporting system for raw materials. Recent research have been focusing on the technological culture's connection with the Harappan culture that originated near the Indus River. Scholars have debated the prehistoric dating of Soanian culture due to artifacts often found in undatable surface contexts. Some argue it is a culture developed by ancient extinct hominids, Homo erectus. Others have suggested that it was the creation of a group of deurbanized people derived from the Harappan civilization near the Indus alluvial plain. Its artifacts are often found near those of Acheulean culture, which is a Homo erectus culture that took place around the same sub-Himalayan culture zone. There is currently no evidence of the two cultures ever crossing paths and is believed to have existed in different timeframes. There are currently two main interpretations of the prehistoric timeframe occupied by the Soanian culture. One sees the Soanian culture as a period that occurred in three connecting intervals throughout the Middle Pleistocene. The other sees the Soanian culture as a single distinct technological culture that may have existed earliest from the Mid-Holocene epoch, with some artifacts potentially belonging to the Harappan culture. The Soan River terraces, observed by de Terre and Patterson, were later discovered to be erosional features rather than terrace sequences that would suggest the prehistorical timing of the artifacts. Second, new findings by the father and son duo Anujat Singh Soni and Vidwan Singh Soni have found Soanian tools on datable sites near northwestern sub-Himalaya. These sites were dated to be from the mid to late Mid-Holocene. Potsherds and weathered redware with coarse fabric were also discovered on some of the sites. These artifacts are believed to have belonged to the Harappan civilization that later lived in villages on the sub-Himalayas. Early human civilizations emerged from antecedent agricultural communities of hills bouldering the Indus alluvial plain. Anatomically modern humans are believed to emerge from Africa within the Soanian time period around 300,000 years ago. It's been argued that their ways of life changed relatively little from that of archaic humans of the Middle Paleolithic. It would remain this way until about 50,000 years ago, when discoveries of a marked increase in the diversity of artifacts found were associated with modern human remains. The Soanian culture is in the western part of the sub-Himalayan terrain, stretching between the river Indus and Yamuna. This area is the primary producer of Soanian artifacts. This technological culture has been correlated to the prehistoric geographical changes in the region that allowed prehistoric humans easy access to raw materials. This view is often hypothesized to have resulted from boulder conglomerate formation in the Siwalik region between 0.7 to 1.7 million years ago. These formations are collections of large rocks made of small fragments that have been deposed through tectonic processes. They can look like levitated ranges or hills. The tectonic process also formed rivers and fluvial systems that carried and collected raw materials, such as distal alluvial fans and proximal distal braided stream systems. In the Siwalik region, quartzite pebbles, cobbles, and boulders are the dominant raw materials. From 1.6 million years ago onwards, the existing boulder conglomerate formation saw more changes that further contributed to easy raw materials access for local ancient humans. Scholars of the single interval period argue Soanian tools were developed due to the movement of the Harappan culture. During the mid-Holocene global arid phase, when water supply starts to dry up across the globe, the Harappans, who were originally around the Indus Valley, mostly shifted to the sub-Himalayas in search of water sources. This led to a diminishing of the broad trading system of resources within the civilization, including materials like metal. As a result, Harappans started to manufacture tools using stones that were later discovered to be Soanian tools. This period has been viewed as a process of deurbanization of the Harappan culture, where they began to decrease in size, turning into smaller village-type settlements. In a broader geographical context, Soanian culture is one of many different lithic cultures in Southeast Asia that are abundantly available in sub-Himalayas. Many unifacial flake tools belonging to the Hobonians are discovered near Soanian sites. These tools are also found throughout Nepal, South China, Taiwan, and Australia. Another prominent lithic culture in the region belongs to the Acheuleans, which are distinguished by their preference for bifacial tools. Soanian assemblages generally comprise varieties of choppers, discoids, scrapers, cores, and numerous flake-type tools. These tools are mainly for heavy duty but also have finer purposes, as seen in some flake tools used for cutting. These tools are often manufactured on quartzite pebbles, cobbles, and occasionally from boulders. With Soanian technologies being limited, tools often remain similar in shape and sizes to their source materials. Soanian technological culture differ largely from other prehistoric culture in the region. Other cultures found in Siwalik, like the Acheulean, are often described to be of bifacial nature and focused on hand axes. The comparison between other culture of the same region has seen Soanian technology categorized as a continuation of archaic technology rather than Neolithic. This is due to Soanian culture often being isolated within the mountainous region away from plain populations who have access to more materials. Scholars of the singular interval period view Soanian technology's development due to the deurbanization of the Harappan culture's deurbanization. This group was initially thought to have had large trading networks with intricate tools and their own scripting system. However, due to climate change during the mid-Holocene epoch, many original settlements collapsed in search of water and have been reduced in size. The group began adopting tools that were more easily accessible. The western sub-Himalaya and the Siwalik Hills first caught the interest of archaeologists and paleontologists in the early 1800s when the Miocene age fossil apes were uncovered. This led to Western scholars' interest in exploring the region for potential prehistoric cultural artifacts. The first official discovery of lithic artifacts in the western sub-Himalaya zone was reported in 1880 by Theobald W. in a report titled, "On the Discovery of a Celt of Paleolithic Type in the Punjab." Wadia and Kru Todd first noted discoveries in the Siwalik Hills for Paleolithic lithic occurrences. Their research influenced the academic duo of Helmut de Terre and Thomas Thomson Patterson to conduct their research in the region. De Terre and Patterson deemed the artifacts found in Siwalik belonged to a specific technological culture named Soanian. They did not excavate but focused on selectively collected surface materials from surrounding terraces. This work confirmed lithic occurrence specific to the region and prompted further research. Excavations later followed outside of India, taking place in Pakistan and Nepal, further confirming prehistoric culture in the Siwalik zone. Modern-day excavation methods have also changed from the time of de Terre. During his time, scholars focused more on assessing the scattering patterns of tools in smaller sampled regions. Modern observations due to technological developments focus on Soanian tools' occurrence as a complex behavioral system. This method entails carefully surveying and recording artifacts along vast regions, seeking to understand the spatial relationship each lithic culture has with one another. This form of observation has allowed scholars to observe the relations of the emergence of specific tools to specific geographical contexts. Hundreds of edged pebble tools were discovered at Adiala and Kasala Kalan, about 16 kilometers from Rawalpindi Terrace on the river's bend. At Chantra in Himachal Pradesh, hand axes and cleavers were found. Tools up to 2 million years old have been recovered. Many fossil-bearing rocks are exposed on the surface of the Soan River Gorge. 14-million-year-old fossils of gazelle, rhinoceros, crocodiles, giraffes and rodents have been found there. Some of these fossils are displayed at the Pakistan Museum of Natural History in Islamabad.